Hello friends, it's Allison with the Everyday Scrapbooker. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I have another card that I would like to share with you. This card is another very simple card to make. And when I sat down to create it, I really wanted to make the focus on the card Cricut cuts. So I went and sat down at my computer. I found one of my favorite overlays to cut, which is the striped red overlay you see in the top left-hand corner of the screen. And I cut that from Close to My Heart Candy Apple cardstock. And then I also chose a Christmas stamp that I had in my stash and really wanted to focus on using the poinsettia flower that's in it and the really sweet sentiment. The name of the stamp set escapes me at the moment, but I will include it in this description box down below. And all of the products that I used to create this card. So the things that you're going to need to create it is white cardstock, red cardstock, your favorite tools for coloring. I like using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. Those are the only tools I have for coloring in the traditional sense. You can see that I pulled them out right here. I'm using the dark red blend marker, and I'll also be using the dull green to color in the poinsettia. And once you have gathered all of those materials, you are ready to go. Now, before I hit record to make this video, I cut the rectangle that the sentiment is stamped on with Close to My Heart thin cut. It's the Stitched Rectangles thin cut set, and I used the smallest rectangle in the set to cut the rectangle from. I knew that the stamp was going to overlap the cut portion of the paper after putting it through my Cuttlebug. So I trimmed some scrap white cardstock to match the same size as the cut. Well, truthfully, I gotta back up the bus. I actually just layered the cut over the scrap cardstock, stamped the image so that it hit both papers. I used some washi tape just to hold it together so that it would stay put. Stamped it with just black ink from Close to My Heart, and then glued the two together and then trimmed off the excess after that was all done. I did the gluing with my liquid glass. So back to coloring now. I turned the camera off after I finished coloring the first poinsettia in because it's time consuming and I don't want to waste your time. I also didn't want to make the video too terribly long either. So I did a lot of shading in the image, both images, starting this time with the darker marker and then moving to the lighter. I really wanted to focus on the shadows in this image, so focused my energy on coloring the places where the leaves would overlap and the deepest, or not the leaves, but the petals, and where the petals are the deepest, like nearest the center of the flower. So the darkest color was applied there, and then I worked outwards to the lightest color, and then went over the entire image with the lightest color just to blend it all together. To fill in the center of the poinsettia, I actually used my goldenrod gold stickles to give it a little bit of bling and sparkle. And who doesn't love bling and sparkle? That looks so pretty. I had to be careful though not to touch the centers. I let them air dry on their own. You can use your heat tool to help speed up the process, but this time I just decided to leave it. And while I was coloring the second image, I actually smudged the stickles in the first image, so I had to do it over again. So while I was cutting the images out, I had to be very careful not to do that a second time. I also turned the camera off when I went to cut out the second image, just as a time saver, not to waste any more time. So those are all done, and now I'm just adding glue to the back side of the cut file from my Cricut. I'm using the darker side of this Close to My Heart cardstock rather than the lighter side. I like the bold color, and at the end of the video you will see just how bright and bold the color is. It's beautiful and it's perfect for Christmas. There will be some close-ups at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. Once I got the overlay glued to my card base, I'm going to layer the sentiment over top of that with some foam squares. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the time in this video playing around with where these flowers are going to go. I really had a hard time figuring out placement with these. I even got the adhesive onto it, which was more foam squares, thinking the way I had it at this point was where it was going to stay. I turned the camera off, stopped recording, and got to looking at it and was like, nope, it just doesn't feel right to me. So I kept peeling them off and moving them around until I finally overlapped them a little bit in the bottom right hand corner, and absolutely love the final result. There you are, my friends, a really quick and another simple card for Christmas. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back again very soon with another video. I hope you join me again. You can click the subscribe button if you don't want to miss anything. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you hit that little bell. I will see you again very soon. Thanks for dropping in and spending some time with me, and I will see you again soon. Bye, guys.